Welcome everybody to another round of the FSL ARAM tournament. As usual, my name is Everyday and with me is my good friend Spoods. How are you today, man?
I'm still super tired, but I'm looking very much forward to an exciting day of ARAM games. If it's anything like the last two sessions we've had, it's gonna be an absolute banger.
Absolutely it is. Now, we are going in thick and fast here. We are on the Thai server this week, just so people know. I'm keen to see what another region can offer us. We're in our third. And let's flick over, because we've got our first draft. And what do we think of this one so far? The blue team has Kha'Zix, Katarina, Nasus, Talon, and Akali, no ADCs for them, versus Jinx, Syndra, Draven, Set, my boy, and Lissandra. Well, I count two ADCs versus zero, and based on our trends, not a good situation for the blue team.
Yeah, usually you get the ADC, you win late game. So obviously, the situation for the blue team is you have to win early. If not, you're basically messed up because you don't have that insurance policy to keep you going in the late game. Add on to the fact that you have a lot of assassins, so you definitely do have the ability to sort of pop off in the mid game. But again, when you have all of these playmaking champions, it does come down to the fact that you have to execute very well. On the other side, though, we have 280 carries, Set, and Lissandra. And Lissandra right now is hovering around the sixth highest win rate in the ARM scene. So it's going to be pretty difficult for the blue team either way. Definitely have to execute super well in order to get some sort of advantage early on.
Absolutely. Now, one pick we did see last week, and there was some questionable decisions made around it. Well, I say pick, assignment, I guess, is
Assignment.
Nasus.
Yeah.
Because I think, and you're the one that said it, and I 100% agree with you, you should be playing AP Nasus. I don't think there's much
Right.
of a point going full tank, because Nasus doesn't get that tanky, even if you build him that way. And the E with that AP ratio on ARAM, just you put that on top of a team fight, you're hitting everyone and ridiculous damage. So I will hope we see Reba. I think that's Reba. Sorry, I misread
Yep.
the L as an I. My mistake. I do apologize. I do hope we see them going AP because it would really help their team out.
Yeah, AP is absolutely nutty. Actually, after we actually finished the ARAM game, I went on to play a bit of ARAM myself, and I did get the Nasus. So I played a bit of AP. Absolutely disgusting. Not exactly sure why we haven't seen a full AP Nasus build just yet. Most of the Nasus we've seen have been playing super safe. Have been trying to build for tank. I believe we saw one that went for Luden's Echo into Trinity Force, which we both disagree with quite wholeheartedly. So
Yes.
hopefully Deliriba doesn't. I don't want to say disappoint, but I think that's the word that I want to use here. I hope that Deliriba doesn't disappoint us.
Absolutely. Now, we will just go to a short little ad break to show off our sponsors, and we will come back for a little bit more analysis and to get onto the Howling Abyss. See you very, very soon, guys. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everybody. We are just waiting for the loading screen to boot up, and as I say it, there it is. We are loading in to our first game here on this lovely Saturday afternoon, or morning, depending on where you are. Maybe tell us in the chat where you're watching from. That'd be fun. But regardless, let's have a look. We talked about one pick, which was the Nasus, and we talked about the AD carries.
Right?
Are there any other picks? Let's focus on the blue team, because I think they're behind the 8-ball that could get them across the line here.
The blue team.
For the blue team.
I mean, if you want to, I don't think that the 8-ball is necessary in their favor. I mean,
No, they're
sure,
behind the 8-ball. That's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
Because if you hit the if you hit the 8-ball, you lose a shot. It's very bad. Now,
Right.
you're going to have to help me out. Which
Right.
button is time controls? Because it's all in Thai.
You
There we go.
press
I got
you.
it.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank
There
you. Sorry about that, everyone. You were seeing me mess with settings there. But yeah, I don't speak Thai.
Unlucky. Right. What are we talking about? The
We're
blue
talking
team.
about blue
Right.
team picks that could help them because we think they have the team comp disadvantage.
Right, so we briefly touched on the fact that they have 4 assassins. I don't think Kha'Zix is going to be all that useful, like we've already touched on in, I believe it was the Filipino ARM session. Doesn't really do all that well as the fact you don't really have isolation buff. So it's going to really come down to Katarina, Akali, and Talon to really be doing something in the mid-game. Nasus isn't going to be doing all that much when it comes to team fights, other than a lot of wave clear. decent damage coming down from the side of red already, though, and the fact that blue team don't really have range is not really working in their favor right now.
Yeah, certainly for now. We need to get to the point where Jinx has those crit rockets, if she can get an Infinity Edge and a Runins, the AoE from range, just gets absolutely disgusting. I can actually, we talked about ADCs, I can actually see it being a little bit difficult for Draven to do Draven things.
Right.
Just because, you know, he's not particularly long range, he doesn't have the best self-peel, but I think he'll be okay. We'll find out. Ooh, Dilariba taking a lot of damage there. I don't even know where that magic shield came from, actually. I'm not even 100% sure. Came from somewhere.
I believe somewhere. I would usually agree with your point. I would usually agree on your point of Draven, but I think at this point you don't really have range on the blue team to be able to contest when Draven walks up and tries to poke you. So I don't think Draven is all that dangerous, especially in this game. I mean, whoever's playing Draven is not in a very dangerous situation this game.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough point. The one person, I think the most important person for the blue team in terms of execution is Akali. As well as Katarina as well, but I think Akali is the one I want to focus on. Because in those mid-game fights, her Shroud takes up such a wide portion of this bridge that she can really operate with impunity. Do you think that's going to be enough to deal with these ADCs?
Absolutely, it'll help a lot. I'm gonna hold that. Oh, actually, just a little slick. But yeah, I think Akali is one of the champions we've really seen in the previous two sessions, where a really good Akali player can really just swing the tides of battle by just either deleting or occupying the entirety of the enemy team backline for basically the entire fight. So if that is gonna be able to happen here, alongside the fact that Akali really has the easiest engage out of all the members of blue team, I think that's going to be extremely instrumental.
Ooh, we do have a bit of damage.
To claw back OW.
Very good E there from Kirsty to get out of trouble. Was caught greeting for the health relic. And just to check in with something we pointed out was it does look like an AP Nasus, as that is a lost chapter. It should go into the Luden's Echo. We just have to hope no Triforce follow-up, because it's not good, guys. Don't do it.
We're gonna jinx it, aren't we?
We're gonna jinx it. It's absolutely gonna be a Triforce because we're saying.
Oh man,
that's how it is. Birds fly, grass grows, and casters predict the wrong items.
Alright, alright.
And your way predicts the wrong dragons. Not even here, but I'm still gonna get him.
Oh man, this is next level game right now. Gotta call him out every chance you get.
Absolutely, he's a good friend.
Right, but right now we are seeing blue team not really making any moves on the map. Not like they really have any sort of choice either way. A bit of missing pings coming down confuse us to what the Lissandra is doing, but yeah, blue team in a very difficult position. Not exactly sure how they managed to claw something back. I think right now what they're trying to do is just stacking up the gold off the minion waves, trying to get a reset later on, sort of when you're approaching the mid game, and trying to pop something onto the red team the moment they get back. I think that's the main avenue they try to find an advantage right now.
Yeah, I'd really like to see them, excuse me, funnel a little bit of farm onto this Nasus and then send him in to die. Just go in, oh, it's a little snowball engage. That's very slick out of Lissandra. That's a really cool little trick. Throw the E backwards, snowball forwards, and then go to your E. That's very cool. I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, as I was saying, I'd like to see them get a bit of gold on this Nasus, send him in alone, just kamikaze, just go in and die once he can afford maybe the Ludens, maybe a little bit more than that. Just because then they have wave clear. That's sorted once you have a bit of AP on your Nasus. At the moment, it's a little bit flaccid, as there is a lot of damage being dealt to Moonpie, and the Face Breaker brings him back in. This is an absolute slaughter. Only one kill going back onto the red team at the moment. 3 members of the blue team are dead. Make it 4, as Akali should be going down momentarily, but will get a kill before she does. This is getting much, much closer than it ever should have been. But it's still a 5 for 3, and a very big play for the red team.
And the AD carries are the only ones left alive, picking up the ace for the side of the red team. They're going to get some decent damage down onto the tier 1 turret, but they're not going to be able to pick it up. Still though, in the upcoming fights, because of the resets that we did see come through from blue, they are going to be at an advantageous position, especially with both of the AD carries, the main damage dealers for the red team, still sitting on just the base items.
Yeah. So one thing I want to point out here is interesting itemization out of Draven. Hasn't gone for the BF sword start, which you obviously can do. Is that Neverguy will come back to it as another engaged. Kha'Zix flying forward, dealing so much damage to the waifu. And I'm sorry, Jinx, we don't know your name, we don't read Thai, but they have gone down, the shutdown, and it's just set. Left standing, and he'll join his team in the grave. Blue team fire back with a clean ace, and they're going to be able to take this tower.
Yeah, absolutely. The combination of just the fact that they have assassins on their team and that they have more active gold on the map contributed to the fact that they were able to pick up those quick kills, and certainly this clean execution did absolutely help as well. Oof.
Little bit unfortunate there. Katarina wanted the reset, could have gotten an execute, but a very smart Jinx rocket to get the damage tag. Someone could tell us how to pronounce their name. That'd be really awesome, because at the moment they're just Jinx.
Right, okay, anyway. We are seeing both AD carries come back to lane, well, the only lane, with Infinity Edges already complete, so that's going to be a huge power spike in their favor now that they have actually gone back and got that reset.
Very soon as Dillareba, you've got to dodge that true damage from the Haymaker, but in goes Akali. Polcation doing so much damage here. There is the kill on the Jinx. Draven will be the next one to go down. Look at the damage out of these assassins! And it's an ace! This is the most bloodthirsty game we've seen in a long time.
Alright, I'll take it back. You got your Infinity Edge, but when your 80 carries are being jumped on by all the assassins on the enemy team, not really much hope for you, especially when they've just gotten back and got them a bunch of items to increase their damage. They're not going to get much off the back of that fight, but it is going to be a good, healthy chunk of gold going into blue team's pockets.
Very true, and this is an interesting dichotomy that we've seen, because we kind of called, you know, ADCs, they're pretty damn good on the ARAM, and they are, but with 3 assassins in the Talon, Akali, and Kha'Zix, it is pretty difficult for them to operate. It's just going to come down to execution on the parts of both of these roles. If the ADCs can kite it out, make sure they live, maybe with Lissandra helping with ults on the assassins that have gotten in the best, they probably win every fight. But if these assassins can play it well and find cheeky ways to get in, how do these ADCs do anything?
Right, keep in mind that, you know, we haven't really reached the break point that AD carries really become strong on the ARAM. Right now, it's still very much in the favor of the assassins in terms of damage, but if red team is able to just, you know, sort of stem the bleeding and just fall back every time blue team is looking to engage, eventually you're going to choke out the assassin's ability to really dish out the damage. And once you hit the 20-25 minute mark, that's when the AD carries come online. That's when you start winning the game as the red team.
And I'm noticing a few questionable boot choices, I have to say. 2 pairs of Merc Treads. Gonna be honest, I don't think the MR is what you need. I think the Tabbies or Spell Pen for Katarina might have been the way to go, but I'm sure they've got their logic. Dillareba takes a lot of damage and a Syndra ult, but pops the Nasus ult to get some health. In comes the Katarina, but gets suplexed back. But it doesn't matter because Akali is now flying forward. Kha'Zix does get knocked back. Moonpie's got to fall back. It's Syndra and Jinx left alive. Good flash away from the rocket. Very well done there by Kha'Zix. And this should be enough to defend, but it's another good fight for the blue team. They are dominating these fights.
It was an interesting little bit of engage. I think Lissandra was trying something, almost picked up 1 or 2 kills, especially on the Nasus, but unfortunately was unable to do so after, before actually falling. So it definitely could have been played slightly better. I don't think necessarily going in was the best decision that they could make there. But either way, no objectives were lost. Just a few kills being traded.
Yeah, exactly. It is still just 1 tower for each team. See who can make the decisive fight to get towards the secondary tower and open up the inhibitor for assault. A hard one to call this game. It seems very balanced so far. Let's have another look at the builds while we do have a momentary lull. It's a Spectre's Cowl picked up for Nasus. They're really worried about this magic damage. I really don't
question
think
is-
it's going to be Syndra and Lissandra that's going to be doing the damage.
Yeah, they worry about the magic damage, but the question now becomes where does the magic damage come from? Because Syndra and Lissandra, like you just pointed out, aren't going to be the main carries when it comes down to
But we
later
do have
fights.
another engage. We'll have to come back to it as there is the shutdown on the Talon. They need to get the rest of these assassins as Wish You Lucky manages to get away, and they didn't focus the ADCs, and they were punished for it. As that is
Yes,
4 of them dead.
Yeah, absolute horrible play coming in from the blue team. They have been executing very cleanly in the previous fights. Not exactly sure why, but they actually did just go in one by one after the other person has died. So
On Lisandra,
definitely could have played that fight better.
on the Syndra as well. Syndra, don't get me wrong, she deals a lot of damage, but it's not the same kind of sustained damage in an AoE that these AD carries are going to do, particularly Jinx. It's questionable. I think there's a bit too much focus on the magic damage dealer. Set is being caught out here, uses the Super Slam. Lissandra caught as well. Those are obviously just, we'll int a little bit so we can go by items. No one's complaining.
Yeah,
now.
they still have 3 members. They're fine.
It does look like the blue team wants to make an issue of it as Kirsty takes a lot of damage but goes down to a Syndra Spear and a Jinx Rocket. Not ideal at all, as she's not going to have much gold in her pocket, as we do have a bit of a freeze here.
She did manage to
might
pick
be
up
my
Morello.
client.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think it is your client. I'm fine.
I believe it is. So hopefully this sorts itself out. I do apologize.
Alright. Well,
Not
they're
ideal.
going in again. This is just blue team inting a little bit.
I
Polycathon is
may
gonna pick up
need
a few
to
kills.
very quickly restart my client. I do
All good.
apologize. It's just completely frozen.
I'll just give you all updates on what's happening.
Yeah, so if you could radio cast for just a moment, I'm going to flick back over just to a waiting screen. We are still here. I just need to reload into the game. Hopefully that should be easy and clean. Not
Alright,
sure
absolutely.
what
What you're...
happened.
Katarina's actually going in is just gonna instantly pop the Jinx, but the Jinx just pick up the Akali, and now blue team once again is on the retreat. Super unfortunate, not exactly sure what happened to blue team. Their execution definitely could use quite a bit of recalibrating back into hopefully what we saw 5 minutes ago, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully we will get back into game. A little bit tricky to navigate. We are loading back in. I do very much apologize. Everyone did miss a bit of action.
Well, us and the first game technical issues.
League
Name a better duo,
clients.
Kappa.
League clients, what can I
Fuck it.
say? It's tricky sometimes.
Ooh, they're going in again. Blue team just jumping in. I'm not a Playful Playcaster, so I have absolutely no idea how to say this. Katarina is going to come in with the bouncing blade, just jumping into the backline. Akali is already there. They're going to pick up the kill onto the Draven. That is going to be 300 gold into their pocket.
And here we are. We are back in game, so I will take over as Dillareba
Welcome
will
back.
go down. Sorry, you don't need to play-by-play. As much as that was good play-by-play, you can do the yelly. Katarina going forward, dealing a bit of damage as... Oop, turn that off. And now the red team is charging forward. Draven getting those axes spinning. But it's a 3 for 3 as respawns come out for the red team.
Not gonna lie, I have no idea where you are because Draven just respawned on my screen. What timer are you at?
My timer decided to slip very far back. I'm now at 14:52.
Okay, I'm actually behind you. We should be fine.
So apologies for that. I will get the scoreboard and the like back up. Go. And hopefully my client doesn't freeze again. Please pray to Paparito.
Paparito, please. Right, since you were gone, we've seen a few item pickups come through, namely the Katarina finishing up the Morello Nomicon as well as the Syndra. Overall, not anything too interesting to talk about, except for more Emma being picked up as Nasus finishes the Spirit Visage and does go for the Murktreads as well.
I think there is actually a couple of things I would like to talk about over on the red side as the dynamic duo. As I used to play a fair bit of Jinx. I used to say, once I've got an IE and a Runins, game's pretty much over, lads, as long as I'm caught up, because those crit rockets aren't fair.
Absolutely, and she is absolutely caught up right now. Personally, I would prefer the third Zeal item be completed as well, but that's just me playing a little safer. Right now, Jinx absolutely can take over these team fights. It's a little early on in the game, so it's not like blue team doesn't have a chance to come back if they are able to find the good execution that has carried their early fights. But right now, the ball is definitely in the red team's court.
Absolutely. As they have, in fact, while we were not in game, one thing to catch up on, they have taken that secondary tower and are obviously pushing towards the inhib. It's up to the blue team to stop them. I still don't fully understand all of this, Emma. As the face breaker lands, Polkaton taking so much damage, does get away into that Shroud, but he's very, very low. Charges forward, goes into the Lissandra Self-Bolt. There is the set Super Slam, taking him down to WrestleMania. Uses the Haymaker to get a little bit tanky, but didn't have too much pit grit. He's very, very low now and does go down, but it doesn't matter because it's traded. Jinx is going absolutely wild. Gets the double kill. That'll be the inhib. And with Dilla Reaper going down, there is a very good chance of them taking the game. Triple kill for Jinx. They have gone 8-3-17. What a performance out of the red team. And they take a dominant game 1.
Absolutely. This game, in my opinion, definitely should have been longer. Not exactly sure why blue team thought it would be in their favor to jump in and basically end 3 fights in a row. But at the end of the day, red team held fast. They managed to weather the storm from the 4 assassins, and they did come out on top in the end.
That they did. And as we wrap up game 1, I don't think the blue team played too badly. They started out so well, those assassins picking their targets. Well, I just think there was some questionable itemization and an underestimation of the assassins. I actually just want to very quickly, we don't normally do this, but we will this time, if I can just flick over. Let's have a look at the stats.
Right.
Or the damage stats.
Let me actually stop you there, right? You might have a better, how do you say this, perception of the blue team, but that's because you missed like half of the fights they took. So let's be real clear.
That's fair enough. Let's not be too harsh on them. If we look at the damage, actually Syndra dealing a fair bit. They did deal 18k. But still, these 2 AD carries, 18k on Jinx, 11k on Draven. Draven didn't have to do much that game.
Right.
Had it gone later, Draven would have caught up in those numbers. So not the greatest showing from the blue team, but hopefully they bounce back. And we will find out if they do in just a little bit, I think, as we will just go to a little break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Thank you for joining us.